Alright, so making a quick video here. I had a problem with my Dust Keyboard 5QS Mark II, I believe it is. The issue I was having, realized, I'll explain in a minute here, but the problem was whenever I would just rest my thumb on the spacebar on the left side, it would randomly activate, and like 10 of them in a row, or 2 of them in a row, or 20 of them in a row, delete stuff, add spaces, etc. Page down on a web page. It was very annoying, so I was going to take the keyboard apart because the problem is all of the switches are actually soldered to the board. So I wanted to take the keyboard apart, just take a look at what it might entail to desolder the spacebar key, find another key I don't use, like maybe the function key, and swap them to see if that was viable. Did all that, took it all apart, so actually right now it is apart, it is not together. And then when I was getting ready to make the video, I thought I would first demo the problem, and so I just put the housing together, just set things back together so you can see the starting point, and I could show you the issue with the spacebar back on. And now I can't replicate the problem anymore. So it seems just in the process of opening up, and I did blow some air on some of the junk I found inside after taking the case off, just about 2 times. Wasn't a ton of it, so I wasn't expecting things to work again, but yeah, I cannot get the problem to replicate anymore. Whereas I had tried blowing this thing out, I had tried alcohol swabbing around the key, trying to get some alcohol in the key to then mash the key for a while to see if it could clean anything out, if there was some gunk inside. None of that worked until just taking it apart yesterday. And then I was getting ready today to do, I was going to actually demo desoldering and then soldering a new key. And then obviously I can't replicate the problem, so I don't have anything I need to do at this point in time because my keyboard is working once again. So what I thought I'd do instead is just run through a quick explanation of which parts I took apart, because if you're having the same problem, then maybe if you do the same thing, take it apart. There are a couple reasons why this might work. So the first thing I did here is I removed the top housing. Now to do that, you're going to have to flip it over. And there's a couple pieces inside that'll fall out. Don't worry about it too much. You'll be able to find where they go. On the bottom, you'll find about, I think it was like 8 or 9 of these hex type screws. Very tiny screws here. I'm going to zoom in for you. Okay, so on the bottom, flip it over. There's a hole here where each one of the screws resides. There's about 8 of them. Take those out. I'd recommend putting them in a bag just in case you take it apart and then can't fix things right away, especially if you need to go do the desoldering route. So I put those in one bag. That's for the bottom side. Once you've taken that off, then you can just pull off the cover here. Now, one thing to be careful of, the keys here for the volume control, or for the fast forward, play, and brightness controls, it's like this little standalone little piece of plastic, and all this is doing here, it's a different type of key mechanism. Essentially, it's just pushing down on this plastic, which then triggers this little switch right here. So don't be frightened if you see that piece fall off. There's just 3 buttons there that sits over the top of and just pushes down on this little button right here. Completely different switching mechanism you normally have on the rest of your keys. You can set that aside. You could even put it in its own bag if you want. The next step then will be around the board here. There's like a metal cover on top of the PCB. There are 9 of those screws, if I recall correctly. They are Phillips, pretty small. Take all those out. Oh, and actually the 9th one is this little ground contact cable. It'll screw on right here, right next to those little plastic cheap play pause buttons. Once you've done that, then you can just gently, you'll have to pull up on it a little bit. It'll snap out initially. In my case, it's a little bit loose because I've already done this, but all of that will come out. Now be careful. You've got some pieces here for the LED lighting on the keyboard where it'll illuminate, have a little like diffusion through a piece of plastic basically. Just take these out and set them off to the side. It'll be easy to understand how they go back together, and I'll do that in a minute here actually. There is one piece that I broke. I don't know where it came from, but it was like it almost looked like a T shape here, piece of plastic. Or it might have been like a little U shape. I don't know how it goes together because I just found the 2 pieces had fallen out. Still not quite sure I know how this goes together, but there is a piece of plastic diffusion in mine that broke. I don't care. It's just LED lighting, so it's not going to look exactly the same. I don't care. Those are not mission critical pieces. Now be careful here. There is a little piece of this on the volume knob. Probably don't want that to fall off. That might be hard to get back in. Just be able to leave it there. Looks like it goes all the way around, actually, so maybe the one thing to worry about there is not smacking that on something and then breaking it apart. So once you've got this off, you're going to notice that there is a header here that the USB cable attaches to. So this is a USB key. So go ahead and take this off now. You're probably going to find something janky like this, which is what I found. It's a little piece of glue here, and I have no idea why, but there's like hair-like tentacles coming off of it that were not cleaned off. So this is like glued on. I don't know why you would need to glue the header on, other than maybe they have a history of support where people had to ask them to they had to ship their keyboard in because for some reason this disconnected and their keyboard wasn't working anymore. So maybe they've had a history of problems with that. And so all they did was they glued the header and the actual cable connected together. So it wasn't as easy, I guess, to take them out, or maybe to make it a nightmare for support. But it's not exactly like it's easy to come out. Go ahead and detach that then. That actually runs through the plastic backing of the keyboard here. You can take it out if you'd like to just get it out of the way, or you can just take the whole thing and set it out of the way. So that is as far as I went as far as the disassembly process, because now you can see here are the little legs to the switches. So if I were to take one of these keys off, and you can use a key puller, I've got this little chip puller that works almost just as well here. In my case, I'll pull up on the right side of the spacebar and the left side because there's a stabilizer or a press on each of those sides as well as the one in the middle. So you can take the keycap off then. Try not to break those when you take them off, but they can take some pretty good abuse. And then inside you're going to see is a switch right here. Now if I take off another one, the function key is something I've never used over here. I don't think I'll ever use it. So this is one I was thinking I could use to replace the spacebar if it was actually broken. Thankfully I didn't have to do that, but if for some reason it relapses, I will go ahead and try that then. So essentially, if you wanted to do that swapping, well, actually you could stop at this point. What I would recommend is go ahead and blow this out now, get all the crap out of here, and you'll hear, I can still hear a little bit of crap in mine, probably some crumbs that got stuck down in there. So you could shake them off and try and get some of that out then. That would be a good idea. If then you plug it in after that, so reconnect the USB cable, just plug this in and then plug this in your computer. You don't need to put the assembly together to test this. Just set it down on a table, plug that in, and test and see after cleaning it out, blowing it out, do you still have the same problem? Now, here's the problem that I had in case it's similar to yours. In my case, what I noticed is when I pressed on the side of the switch housing here, not when I pressed down, as would be expected, but when I pressed on the side here of the white plastic part or even black outer housing of the switch here, that would actually activate the space key. I would get spaces show up and random number of them as well. Didn't happen on the left side, so it was seemingly a problem only on the right, and sometimes it would happen if I pushed down in the upper right corner and a little bit on top as well, though that's hard to test in my case. But so essentially by bumping it there, I was causing the space key to activate. And so that's why when this was on the housing, and I have my thumb resting on the left-hand side, which is typical, I'm using my right hand on the trackpad, my thumb was resting just a little bit on the left, and that's why it would kind of pull tension and start to slide the keycap to the right, which would then bump the right-hand side and then get my spacebar effect and random number of them as well. So I'm not saying that my switch is okay. I'm just saying I can't replicate the problem anymore, so I'm not going to go through the desolder just in case I don't actually need it. I'll see how long does it take to relapse, or does it ever relapse. It's very possible there was some crap in here, maybe between this back plate and the PCB that somehow is causing an issue, and somehow I blew that out then with my compressed air. I didn't use compressed air, I actually used electrical. So I just used my little data vac here so I didn't have to waste compressed, and compressed air sucks in general. And I put the little tube on to kind of direct it, and I just blew underneath all of the keys and tried to get inside of between the back plate here and then the PCB to knock all that crap out. Didn't do a lot of it though, just like 10 seconds worth. The other thing to do here, there's this little piece of foam-like rubber. It's got 4 holes in it because there's 4 LEDs here above the arrow pad. These are for your various for the various lights on there that light up. That just sits on top. So if you don't know where that goes, no big deal. Just set it over the top of the 4 LEDs in a row there above your arrow keys. Or you can always set it off to the side. It's probably a good idea until you're done, ready to reassemble things. Just have it over there waiting. The other thing I noticed here on the sides, there's some pieces of black like plastic that come off. Just a little bit of them hanging over the edge. I think that's just to block the LED light. So I think that's just to block some of the LED light from coming up, so it only goes out and down. All right, so now if you needed to swap the keys, what you're looking for on the back here, and I've never done this, I just have a feeling it should work fine. You want to find where your white switch is that you want to replace. So this is the one that was a problem theoretically. There's 2 little leggies here. There's 2 little solders right there for that. So you're looking for the 2 little dots on there from solder, and you would need to remove those by desoldering that, and then that would release the key. You'd have to pull it off then. I don't know if it's attached to the plastic. I don't know if it's attached to this back plate or not. I believe it might be. I've seen some little clippies on the sides. I believe you can actually just take something and press down right here and on the other side at the same time, and you should be able to get that to then pop out. And I almost wonder if, oh, that's great, I broke the key. Now I might actually have to replace the switch because I just broke it, so that's lovely. Oh well. So you would take that off then, pull that key out, that's the one, throw it away, or you could put it here if you wanted. There's really no reason if it's a problem though. Then go over to the one that you want to take. Find a key you don't use. There's probably plenty of on a keyboard. Go grab that switch by desoldering it. And then you're going to bring it over and you're going to put it right where the other one's at. Now pay attention to orientation. In this case, the spacebar is actually oriented 90 degrees versus the one here. So you need to take this one out and you rotate it in the same orientation you have here. It's like, looks like the narrow way points up and down on the function key, whereas it's left and right on the spacebar. And then when it comes time to put it back together, well, a couple things. First off, you ought to check it again. And because I broke that keycap now, maybe I'll actually have to do the soldering. I'm going to do a quick test here to make sure it looks, you can see how easy it is to pop a keycap off. There goes another one. Oops, wrong side. Yeah, the side that doesn't have an opening is the wrong side. So just slide that back in. Make sure that's seated well. And then, yeah, as I said, you can just take it, plug it in. Okay, so just a quick test here. Let's come over and see how much I should. Okay, I'm still able to type a spacebar. That's good. That doesn't mean it's working, though. I need to test a few things like pushing on the side. All right, that's not doing it. Just tapping on the side was enough on my other machine. Also, pushing on the white part was doing it. That's not happening there. And so then I'll put the spacebar on. Now, pay attention. There's like a shorter side of the spacebar and a longer side. The longer side goes down. When you're putting that on, you've got 3 different points that connects to. You've got these little plastic things that go in the little squares around the outside of the square for the actual switch. And then you've also got these little pluses here to line up for the suspension system, I believe that is, for the spacebar. So I just type in some characters, make sure it types. Also, when I rested my finger and wiggled on here, I would usually get it to activate. I would test that before you put it all back together. Make sure you're happy. It maybe, you could even set this out on your desk for a couple of days and use it. There's nothing that's really going to hurt anything. Suppose you probably ought to connect the ground again, would probably be a good idea. But beyond that, putting the housing around it is not essential. When it comes time, though, to reassemble it, I'm feeling good about this now that I've done this twice. Obviously, unplug it. You will need this connected, but you're going to have to take this off because you got to run it through the back plastic part. The outer shell for the keyboard, you'll need to run it through there. One thing you could do, go ahead and just put the keys back on wherever they go. It's fine to do that in advance of putting the cover on. Make sure those all work too. Probably could test them out. I'm pretty certain those will be fine. And then a couple things. So first off, I would start with the back because that was the second part to come off. The top part will go last. I would throw the glue away. I don't think it's important to keep. I only kept it so I could show you how janky it was. And then get the pieces out of the back before you set this on top. You can set these in here or not. Save these plastic parts for later. Do not try to put them down first, even though you could put them down first. It's not going to work very well, and I'll show you why in a minute here. Take the keyboard. Make sure you've got this oriented the correct way with the hole is on top. Take your cable, run it through that hole. And if you look at it, there's an angle to the plastic rubber backstopper. It should match, just put it in so it matches the back angle of the tray here. You'll see, you can rotate it if it's the wrong way. Just get that the right way before you put everything back together. It's going to make your life a lot easier. So get that in there. And then on the inside, you can see how that rests right there in the middle, in between. It's not really the end of the world if that's not exactly right. You know what I'm starting to wonder, actually? I think that this plastic piece that I didn't understand what it came from, it might have actually come from right here. All right, so once that's threaded, if you will, through that hole, you can pull it through a little extra to have some room to work here. Plug it into the header. The side that's opened up is the side you want to use. And then you can just pull the slack through, line this one up here if you care, or just close it up. It doesn't really matter if that little rubber housing is right. It will cause a problem with like waterproofing if you're spilling a bunch of liquids on your computer. Maybe it would be good to make sure that thing is sitting in there the right way, but this is not a waterproof keyboard by any means. I'm not going to worry too much about it. Make sure nothing else is inside of there before you close it up. It sucked to put it back together and find that you left this in there, or I don't know, one of these in there. It'd be there until you open it up again. Or at least it would be for me. This should pop in place eventually. All right, there it goes. It kind of clicked for me when I did that. Just kind of move around and shift it a little bit. Don't need to pull it all the way out to get it to drop down in there. So essentially it drop downs in. Now, the one thing I said is to wait on these until you've got this part in the tray. You could go ahead and start screwing things in if you want, but I think it's also an okay time to go ahead and do this piece. So this piece has a little lip on it that is a little bit shorter. You can see there's a little cutout on the end there. Sorry for the zoom. You can see there's a little bit of a cutout right there on the upper right corner for you. Right up here, you'll see a little cutout. And that's because there's a little lip along one side that is pretty narrow and a little bit shorter than the whole piece. That piece is going to stick out. There's also the back piece kind of has a slant to it. That is going to go in. So what you want to do here is just lift up that little plastic flap and just slip it right in there. And when you do that, you're going to find there's like a little, this sets that little short part with the little cutout corners set right in along the edge of the keyboard here, just like that. Flip it around. If it doesn't feel like it's right, flip it around until it looks like it feels, it should actually be level here now. It should be level with the plastic black housing here, almost smooth when you run your finger across. Otherwise, try it again. That said, it's just going to be for diffusing the light from the LED, so I wouldn't worry too much if you can't get it back in, or you're not happy with how it goes, or whatever reason it's broken or something like that. Same thing on the other side. There's a little corner out right here, a little corner out right here, because this is the part that's going to stick out right here, the shorter part of it. And then the other part's kind of slanted as well. Lift up that black housing. Do not pull the keyboard up again, just lift up the little black housing. Slip it in there, and it should just slot in, just like the other one. And so that plastic black part for the tray should be smooth. If it's not smooth, adjust it. Or just throw the damn piece away if you don't care. Once you've got those in place, there's all my trash I don't care about. This one goes right here. Now, you don't have to put those in right away, because what you could do next then is grab your screws. Look for the ones that are hex, because those are the ones, not hex, sorry, look for the ones that are Phillips. Those are the ones that are going to go next. I think I might have knocked them off the table. So this is why I'm a huge fan of the bag, because I knocked the bag off. Well, that's all right, I got all the screws right here. There's 8 black screws. And then there's also one silverish colored one that's not color. So I'll go ahead and take them all out, and then I'll knock them off again. Again, these are Phillips. So the grounding cable, you can put that back on right here first. It's the odd man out. I wouldn't worry about making anything too tight. And just put all 8 of these black screws back in then. Alright, then once you get all 8 of those in, there should 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now it's time to do the top here. So for that one, you'll need your other set of screws that go under from the bottom. That's why I like the bags here. It's easy to arrange. Now take out your Phillips, put in a hex, and you should test it first to make sure it actually works with one of the screws. Or you take it out of the, you got some sort of organizer or something in here. Put the old one back. Make sure that the screw fits here is always a good idea. Looks good. And so now for this one, a couple of things. First off, make sure that little foam piece for the LEDs is actually recessed and sitting back in there over the 4 LEDs. And then this little piece here, I would just pick it up, and I would take the tray that's going to sit over the top here. It's like a piece of metal. And I would go ahead and insert this right into where the slot where it goes here. It's not going to click in or anything. It's just going to rest in there gently. And then just carefully set this over the top. Make sure that ground wire is pushed to the left a little bit, or that might catch on it, and then it may not close. The top may not all the way set down. If everything's okay, that should set pretty close to flush. And so now instead of flipping it over, though, and having some of those parts fall out of place, I would just gently pick it up here, and I would screw in one of the ones here. This is where a ratcheting screwdriver really becomes helpful. I think it's a few more turns than the Phillips one, so just be gentle with that and patient. Okay, you don't need to do those too tight. I would flip it around then and do one on the other side. I would at least do a couple of them like this. If you do want to flip it over after maybe 2 or 3 of them, you could do that then. Just be mindful of the fact that that's going to put tension on the switches. It might damage them, especially if you're pushing down and screwing in. So just be gentle. Don't put a lot of downward pressure. All 8 of them. Look around the sides, just make sure there's no big gap anywhere that something didn't pinch and get in the way. Once you've done that, then you just want to test her out. Make sure we're good to go here. Space works good. Keys look like they're okay. Up, air, down, left, right. Everything looks good to go. So hopefully if you have that problem, hopefully just disassembling it will work for you. If not, go that route of desoldering. And if you do that route and you have success with it, let me know in the comments down below, because there is a chance, I have a feeling that this is a temporary fix for me and that the problem will relapse at some point. Maybe it's dust. Maybe that's the reason it'll relapse. At some point, I feel like I'll probably be stuck desoldering. I'll make a video if that happens, though, and try and share that with you.